Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're checking an airsoft gun I've had my eye on for a while. They're a little higher priced than I'd be willing to pay for it, to be honest. So a buddy of mine picked one up and he is letting me check it out. So today we're checking out the CZ Bren 805 by ASG. It's a pretty solid, lightweight gun, not a lot of wobble. I love the feel. I absolutely love the feel. Where I don't like it is personally some of the internal design choices in construction. So we'll go over that in a little bit here, but just to start off, it's a solid, great feeling gun with a lot of magazine wobble. So to start off with, the 805 Bren, these run about $350 no matter where you buy them. You go to e-bike, you go to GI, you go to your local store, they're gonna run about $350. There's several different versions of them. This is the two-tone black and tan version. You can get an all black, you can get a version with a chrome upper. I have not seen an all tan version as of yet. Each version is going to have either a long or a short barrel. This is the longer barrel version. It comes with a 445 millimeter inner barrel. The AK 455 mil barrel, if you wanted to upgrade it, should fit just fine because you got plenty of flash hider room to cover that extra 10 mil. Aside from that, internals, pretty standard version 3 gearbox. It has its own hop up. It's a plastic hop up, so hopefully we can replace that with a metal one eventually. Pretty much, as far as I can tell, this whole thing is OEM'd by King Arms, which is not a bad thing. King Arms makes some really fantastic guns. My King Arms M4, I love it to death. Fantastic gun once it's all tuned up. But I'm going to say this, the tuning could probably use a little bit of work. There's a lot more gear noise than I would like with this gun, but the accuracy, the range on it, and the FPS I can't argue with. These shoot about 390 to 400 feet per second out of the box. Most websites are going to advertise these at around 360 feet per second. That's completely wrong. This shot closer to 400 feet per second when we chronoed it, so it was literally right on the limit. It shot anywhere from like 398 to 400.5 feet per second. So most fields are probably going to say that's really, really close to the line there if you're at that 400 FPS mark. So just be aware of that too. The shorter barrel version is probably going to shoot a little bit softer, I'd imagine, but the difference is this has a full cylinder in it, and the shorter barrel, from what I've seen, is going to have the ported Type 2 M4 cylinder. So some speeds might vary there a little bit too. All right, let's start off with the back of this guy like usual and move our way up. The back kind of has a ribbing on it. There is no plastic rubberized texturing on it or anything. It's pretty solid. I noticed there is a little bit of wobble on the stock. It's nothing too crazy. I can definitely live with it. It's not annoying by any means. It's just, you can hear it pretty well. It is a retractable 4-position stock, just like, kind of like an M4 LE stock. Nothing too different. It is a really long feeling stock though. I feel like it's longer than most just by a hair. But if I were gonna run it, I'd probably leave it at about the position number 2. I don't like it all the way in or out. Either way, even all the way in, it's really comfortable actually. You've got sling loops on either side here. They're metal, they're built in. And you'll notice this kind of looks and feels like a scar in a lot of ways, an FN scar. So, yeah, no surprise there. Moving up a little bit, the pistol grip is actually pretty comfortable, all built in, one-piece palm or lower. Your magazine catch on the right side here. You've got a bolt release on the side here, but it does not work because the bolt cannot lock back. The bolt itself doesn't go very far back. It's just enough, about an inch back, to adjust your hop up there. And it's kind of like a G36 or G3 style wheel there where you actually can adjust your hop up pretty easily. Very stiff wheel, and it's actually kind of a pain to disassemble because of that. But it's not going to de-adjust or increase your hop up as you're shooting because it is so stiff. Your selector is completely ambi, so both sides here you get your safe, semi, and full auto. You can tell by the white and red dots which is which, of course. Now your front and rear sights as well as the magazine are going to be CAA licensed. The way these sights work is a little bit different. They are flip-up sights, so you kind of have to press one side in and unlock it, push it down, and then relock it. So it's kind of different. The front one's adjustable for elevation, rear one just for windage, and there are 2 Peep Apertures on here. It's got your large, and you got kind of your longer range small peep sight there. Now you got quite a bit of rail space on here, one long monolithic rail on top, plenty of room for pretty much any optic you want to throw on here. Left and right side as well as the bottom all have their metal rails on it. The upper is actually a really nice light aluminum, so the gun ends up being maybe right around 6-7 pounds at the very most. It's actually quite light. The front here, you're also going to have a sling loop just like the back on the front here on both sides. So I really like this. Sling wise, it's completely ambi and you can put it on either side really simply. You do have a plastic orange tip on here. It's very heavily glued and pinned on here. It is rather tough to get off. I'm not going to bother trying to take it off. Not my gun. It is owned by someone else. What I do like is this kind of adjustment here. If you can adjust the threading on here, how far up or back, or which where your ports are going to be on your flash hider. So this kind of adjustment lug here is actually kind of nice and kind of I really wish it was on more guns. It's kind of a unique feature. Now, I do want to touch on the magazine real quick. Like I said, the magazine and the sights are CAA licensed. I think the magazine is absolutely garbage. This thing it's a high cap. They say 360 rounds. It's probably closer to 300 like most of them. The winding wheel and spring on this thing, I feel like they just can't keep up with rate of fire. The gun's rate of fire is not that fast. You're talking 13, 14 a second on a 7.4 LiPo, so it's pretty average right around there. I found just trying to chrono this gun, I had to wind the magazine constantly. It just could not keep its wind, and I could always hear the BBs kind of struggling to keep up even at a regular rate of fire like that. So my recommendation would be to go get some decent mid caps or some high caps, whatever you like to run, and probably just not even use this. I was not a fan of it at all. Now internally, like I mentioned, everything is OEM'd King Arms, version 3 gearbox, right around an M120, M115 spring, shoots right around 400 FPS out of the box, bearing metal spring guide, 7mm bearings, pretty standard King Arms internals from what I saw. I did get a chance to take the lower off. I actually ended up replacing the bucking with a modified flat hop, and the FPS went straight up to about 415 to 420 just by dropping any bucking in. So that's shooting great. I did have to modify that to flatten up a little bit because that window in there, kind of like a G36, is very small. It's intended for that cylindrical nub. So the range and accuracy on this guy originally was actually really good. And after dropping a flat hop in there for modify, the range and accuracy is fantastic. Well over 200 feet, running 2.8s or 3s in this thing, it is going to be just a gun to be reckoned with, really. Very impressive range and accuracy. And additionally, I did forget to mention the stock is actually folding. So you can fold it onto the right side here. And it doesn't stay in place super well, but it's well enough. It does kind of wobble and lock a little bit. And just really simple to open it back up and into the lock position there. Now to remove the stock and get to the battery compartment, pop the pin out here. It is a cotter pin, so pretty simple. Push the button and take the stock off. Your battery compartment's going to be right here in the top section. Fits a stick LiPo really easily. The owner of this gun picked up just an Evike brand 1000 mAh 7.4 LiPo, and they fit with ease. I actually threw a little bit nicer 10 battery in there, and plenty of room in here for even an 11-1 stick LiPo if you want to drop that in as well. Now it is wired to a mini Tamiya. I know a lot of you are probably going to either put a MOSFET or throw a Dean's connector on here. Very simple to do either of those. It does have a quick change spring feature in the back, so obviously you can take the stock off and unscrew the screw here and drop a new spring in very easily. So that's a big plus as far as I'm concerned. Most guns out there that have the quick change spring feature, I feel like, are M4s, and you still have to take the entire gearbox out for the most part. There are some newer models that are changing that up, so it's really nice. And this, I think, is probably one of the easier guns to swap the spring on very quickly. Now, something to keep in mind, when I first started working on this gun, I did have to pop the pins out and put them back in a couple times to test a few things. I noticed that the pins were extremely hard. I mean, they were in there really well that first time. I had to take a punch and a hammer to get them out. After a couple of times, though, they became fairly loose. Like this back pin here comes out very easily now. So that's something I'd keep an eye on, definitely. It stays in there because it's a cotter pin. It's got this little spring on the end here. So it's not going to go anywhere, but if you happen to bump it by accident, it could very easily fall out and you could lose your stock. So just keep that in mind. But that's pretty much covers most of the gun. Out of the box, it shoots great. If you're just going to run this as a stock gun, it's a pretty solid gun from what I've seen. If you're going to upgrade it, It's a little bit of a pain. I feel like like I said, I think like King Arms did cut some corners on the internals. Just some things are done a little bit more cheaply than I'd like. Some of the wire runs, some of the ways the wire's kept in place. It's a little subpar for paying $350 for a gun like this. I feel like something like this, you should really be more in the range of about $280 to $300, $350 and up. I feel like is really pushing the price of what this gun is. So if you can find it on sale, I think it's a pretty solid gun. I think you'd be pretty happy with it. Range, accuracy, FPS, it's all there for a really solid outdoor woodland gun. I know my buddy Tom, who's the owner of this, is going to be using it quite a bit out at the next, there's a Milsim event we're all going to called First Strike. We're all excited about that, and he's going to use this out there, so it'll be pretty fun. Other than that, if you want to check this out, you can probably see it out at Forest Fire Airsoft in Arlington, Washington. We meet the first Saturday of every month, so you guys are more than welcome to come out. It's a $20 fee to play. We'll have this out there. We'll have plenty of other cool guns that you guys have probably seen in reviews and such on my channel here. Thanks for watching, guys. Oh, before I forget, I have to give this a grade. It's a toughie. It feels great. And if you're just going to run this stock, it's a solid gun. But as far as I felt like working on it, I got really tired of, I had to open it up and close it up a few times just to check even a couple of things with the hop-up bucking I installed, because I had issues one time and it turns out something wasn't lining up properly, and having to guess and check some things and open this up and close it up several times is a complete pain. So working on it, I did not enjoy. I usually enjoy working on a lot of guns. This one wasn't a lot of fun though. So just for that, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It's a solid gun out of the box, but if you're going to do any upgrade work on it, just be aware you might get tired of it pretty quickly. So, and on top of that, the price point, I think it's a little much for what it is. But I do like it, and I can't really fault it for how well it performs out of the box. So it does really well. Thanks for watching, guys. 7 out of 10. I'm Prodigy from Kilo 23. I'll see you guys next time.